I need you, boo. I gotta see you, boo. And the
Mm.
hearts all over the world tonight. Said the hearts all over the world tonight. Yeah, I need you, boo. Hey, yeah.
Hey,
Gotta see you, boo. And the
hey.
hearts all over the world tonight. Said the hearts all over the world tonight. Hey, little mama. Ooh, you're a son. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Hey, come on.
Fire. Throw it back, baby.
Call me Andy Breezy. We back in junior high school at the prom. You know how it is. The
All you
vibes.
gotta do, you need the sideways fedora, and we all set.
Oh,
I'm posing right now. Oh
I,
man, if you guys
I,
see this live on YouTube, Andy's got a sick fedora on right now.
yeah. So I bought this on the beach in Mexico. There's a guy kind of coming around. He's like, just has a stack of hats essentially, and it was super funny because I haven't worn a fedora in like a minute, and I used
Mhm.
to have one, but probably got a little bit too messed up while I was spending time in Miami. But I was like, I got to get one of these. So I'm coming back from the airplane, and it's the last day. I packed pretty light for my best friend's bachelor party. I had nothing to wear besides like a tan knit polo,
Ooh, okay.
white chinos, and brown loafers, and I put the hat on. I was like, "Yo, this is how I'm pulling up to the airport." And I had to do something on Tuesday, so I literally went from straight from the airport to the barber to get a haircut.
Mm.
I get into the barber shop, and my barber's like, "Bro, where the fuck you with this fedora?"
Sometimes it's just a vibe, man.
Yeah. What's up with you, man? How's everything?
It's good. End of the week. Usually me and Andy, we rip this podcast on Tuesday, so it's we're switching it up a little bit today. Today's Friday. Been a long week, but happy to be here, man. Dude, how was your bit on Kelly and Mark, man? We got
Kelly?
Mr. Television icon over here.
I know it's fourth time being on television, so it's been crazy. This is probably the biggest one that we've done. We work with a PR group that helps us get a lot of these shows and gigs. And they were like, "Oh, this is going to be super easy for us because like you've got so much content, you do pretty well on camera."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, cool, like see what happens." And it's been crazy to be on the news. And this one was tough because straight up, I was a little hungover. I was texting Peter on the way back. I'm like, "Yo, bro, I got a brain fog. Like, I just can't do this shit no more. Like, I gotta practice sobriety and like just lock in to be a really good entrepreneur." We get there, and that's literally why I got a haircut on Monday evening. Went straight to the barber. Tuesday morning, went straight there,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Hey, let's go through the bit." They start to ask questions and like pretend like we're interviewing. And I start fucking up. Like I'm pretty good at public speaking. Like I don't mind speaking to a group of like 300 some people. Like I've done those things before, and I've done it winging it. This time I was like fumbling words. Like I was using like long words. Like I usually always use layman words, but I said some
Mhm.
shit like eccentric. I said like deceleration. I'm like, what the fuck am I saying? I'm so cooked. The PR people were like, their eyes were like this, and I can sense Christy's nervous energy next to me. And the producer was like, "Yo, did you even look at the script?" I was like, Give me a second. Give me a second. Can I go run to the restroom?" I fucking started splashing water in my
Yeah.
face, and I just like looked at the mirror. I'm like, "You got to get this shit together."
Let's go.
Chugged the coffee, and it went well. But when we went out to like test, like right before they were recording, like, "Hey, let's just test up the setup." I walk out, and I was like, I looked at the producer. I'm like, "There's
Mhm.
fucking like 200 something people here in the audience."
Live, right? Yeah.
And
It's
she's
sick.
like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "I thought it was a fake audience. You didn't tell me it was a real audience." She's like, "I forgot to mention that." And I was like, "Oh shit, this is a lot." But great experience, super eye opening
Yeah.
to do that with like a live group. Before it's always been like newsrooms and
Mhm.
those kind of setups. But hopefully we get that backlink, improve our domain authority, and this SEO takes off. Takes
Take
off
it
to a
off, baby. Do they do any kind of like makeup for you?
yeah. It was
Yeah.
They did the makeup for me, fixed the hair, and it was mad funny because like afterwards, like I was sweating and I just like wiped my face and I was like, "Oh
Oh shit.
shit!" I was like, "Fucking ruined my t-shirt."
Yeah. You need that
Um,
makeup cloth.
yeah,
Dude, but that's a fire way to kick off Q3, man.
I know. Here we go. Yo, that was a smooth transition.
You like that?
That was
Bang
a 10
bang.
out of 10 transition. Uh,
But all right,
Peter, now,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah, we're kicking it off with like what we got planned in the books for Q3. But Andy's coming off hot with a live bit in the news with Kelly and Mark. Dude, what else do you got planned for Q3, bro?
Yeah, we have, next week we're going to be in LA. The following week we're going to be in San Fran. So Christy and I are just going to stay out there, do a bit of networking, talking with people, shaking babies, kissing hands. I'm kidding. It's the other way around. And then the following week after that, we have Orlando. So afterwards, it's kind of chill. But, as we're traveling, we're definitely going to be decompressing a bit because it's just
Mhm.
busy. We've had, vacations, but one was with her family, which like when you're with family, it's not like a vacation with your significant other. This one, I just had a bachelor party and I came back from the bachelor party feeling like I needed to go on vacation, like actually rest. So the first month, definitely decompress a little bit and just take it easy. But afterwards, the main thing that I'm going to be working on is revamping all of the landing pages.
Hmm.
So we'll be launching some for like the moment education stuff. We'll be launching it. So I'm going to revamp that sales page. After that, I'm going to start to look over like go getters and moment PTP and just start to figure out like how can we make these websites better, because I think we're starting to get a lot more traction for all three businesses. So,
All those backlinks from Kelly and Mark, man.
yeah, but I think the main emphasis for me in Q3 is like really, really cleaning up the messaging. I feel like I've stepped into another level in regards to like marketing.
Hmm.
There's just been a lot of like studying, talking with people, and myself making purchasing decisions for certain things and kind of reflecting on that and seeing like what do we need to put together to make the other person feel very confident moving forward with us, because when we're ramping up our ad spend, we're having so many eyes on us. And I
Hmm.
think the main shift that I've had is like most people think of a website as like a website, but to me, like a website's a salesperson, right? A website is somebody that should be selling to the person that's reading this website. Same thing with your content. So oftentimes we think that the most beautiful website converts, but that's just far from the truth. The best that convert are the one that really, really speaks to the like that very specific demographic that you have. And I think we've cleaned up a lot of our messaging, and now it's time to put like everything in here onto actual paper and rebuild everything.
I love that. I think, dude, like maybe 3 years ago, I did a full like website revamp, and the person I went through made it look like super sexy. We had like a full on like video, like at the beginning of the front page, and then like when I actually had like an audit done, it actually ended up being like super low converting because it just ended up being super slow because of all the video and everything. So yeah, guys, like oftentimes you have to realize like what looks really really good, like especially from your perspective may not actually be like what's optimal from like a lead conversion standpoint. But dude, let's actually dive a little bit deeper into like landing pages. Just because I'm actually kind of curious to know too, like what are some of these things that you're implementing in. But first off, for all these like people that like maybe newer into business, bro, like what the hell is a landing page? Let's kick it
Yeah.
off with that.
First off, like the reason why like you might be thinking like, what the fuck, dude? You already have a website, looks pretty good. Everything can always get better, right? And as you're
Yeah.
learning things, it's always good to keep seeing things with more experienced eyes. And like right now, like I've built a lot of fucking experience under these eyes. You can see the fucking eye bags. So like, it's time to get back into landing pages. But a landing page is essentially like you click a link on the internet and it puts you into a page. And within that page, if you do things well, you get the person that's looking at that page to do an action that you want. Sometimes it's fill out an inquiry, sometimes it's buying a product, etc. But a website is essentially a bunch of landing pages. You have your home page, you have your about me page, and all of those things. But the ones that you want to probably focus on are the one that has the most traffic, right? It's probably going to be your home page. It's probably going to be the about me page, and it might be like your contact us page. Very few people will actually go through and read all of your blogs. And if they're reading your blogs, chances are they're probably a very warm client. And
Yep.
all the other services pages are good, but you can kind of take care of those fairly simply by just going into detail about the actual service that you deliver, putting a couple of testimonials. But when it comes to like rebuilding the website, I think the main focus for me is going to be looking at it from the lens of like, I am someone that has no idea what you do. So how do I like how do I start to lead someone through this like nurture sequence that is my homepage, right? Like if Peter had a website and it just said $50 physical therapy, no one's gonna fucking bite,
Mhm.
because it's just like, well, I don't even know what you do. I don't even know if I want this $50 evaluation, right? So like at the bare minimum, it should be very, very clear who is this service for. And I think we can hone in on that message a little bit more. Like right now we have like performance-based physical therapy to help you move better and avoid surgery, et cetera, et cetera. I think it can get even more clear than that, right? You can say something like physical therapy for people that have done the traditional route that hasn't worked, blah, 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 or something along those lines. Like physical therapy for people that actually want to get moving, lift heavy weights, and get back to higher level activities instead of laying on the table doing bullshit TheraBand exercises.
Yeah.
Whatever your demographic is, like put it in there. Um, and then from there, it's like, okay, now that I know what you do, how do I know if you can help me?
Mhm.
You can start to list a bunch of problems that the person has probably encountered before in the past. And it's like, okay, well, like now that I know that you understand my experience, what does this process even look like? And I think typically, most people have like we address the root cause, and then, we put you back together, and then we build you up. But if you just make blanket statements without actually talking about the proof of like the process of what that looks like, it won't help. So like, I am not going to spit from an ivory tower. Like right now, if you look at our website, it's July 18th. It might change by the end of this weekend. um, I just have, we address the root causes, right? If you just say that, it's like, you're going to be skeptical. Like, oh, okay, anyone can say they address the root causes. It's like, we address the root causes because we scan your whole body. We look at the
Mhm.
mobility at every single joint. We look at your ability to lengthen each muscle. We look at your ability to coordinate these foundational patterns. And from there, it gives us a bigger picture of exactly what's going on and what differences that are there side to side. Reading that versus we're going to address the root cause, you're like, holy shit, they have like a very proprietary way of doing this, right? So from there, it's like, okay, but I don't know if this is going to work for me. Then you layer them with fucking testimonials.
Mhm.
So like, as you're going through a website, you have to take it, you have to look at it through the lens of someone that has no idea what you're doing. And the reasons why most physical therapists suck at marketing is they're still marketing to other physical therapists.
Mic drop, bro. Yeah, I think a lot of times, like when people click on an ad or a link, right, and your ad or link is talking about a specific thing, the header of your landing page has to be exactly the thing that they clicked on. So that way it's like, okay, cool. I'm rewarded by this guy exactly gave me what I clicked on. Right. So it's exactly calling out what your local avatar is, right? It's like, hey, busy New York professionals who have been dealing with chronic pain, who have tried, XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. So you call out, the ideal avatar. And then from there, you can go into like just like a couple different bullet points, or you can even have a video talking about their exact problems. I think like a landing page is so cool because especially if you know your avatar really well, you can almost like read their mind and you basically just like put out all their deepest like thoughts and exactly what they're going through on the landing page. And it's like, because I've had this happen to me from a consumer side standpoint before, where I'll click on something and it basically lists out all the struggles and problems that I'm dealing with. I'm like, holy shit, like this is exactly meant for me, right? And tells you, hey, like this is probably everything that you're dealing with, all the things that you're struggling with. Well, guess what? Here's the solution, and here's how we're going to be able to address all these problems and issues that you've been experiencing before. So you have problem, solution, and then from there, exactly what you said, all the social proof, right? Social proof, social proof, social proof. Maybe you have layer on testimonials of other clients who have worked with you. You've got all these like YouTube videos of you working with other clients and testimonials. And now there's a lot more trust and rapport built up. So now whenever people do click on that, cool, they have a lot more information about exactly what it is you provide, who you help, and they're like, okay, if this does resonate with them, there's absolutely no reason why somebody would not click on it and opt in.
Dude, and if you don't think these things actually matter, just remember the last time you clicked the website and you realize, oh shit, this is really, really good, right?
Yeah.
Like, and the people that do this at an extremely high level are just constantly testing things, constantly testing things. Um, so yeah, that's been like a huge deep dive that I'm going to be going into. I read a really great book on fucking websites while I was away. Great websites. What's the book? You got the book right next to you.
Making websites win.
Making websites win. It's a white book, black font, and then win is in green.
Yeah. Car Blanks and Ben Jensen.
Yeah, phenomenal things, but it's like as you're starting out, you don't know what you don't know. So there's a term called like CRO. It's like conversion rate optimization. How many
Yep.
people come to your website? How many people convert?
Convert. Yeah.
And people essentially do a ton of things, right? You have these apps where it can tell people that opt into the cookies like where you're scanning, where people's eyes are looking, where they spend the most time, where the arrow is, what links they actually click, so that you can actually track someone's behavior on your website. Um, but all of these things are super, super important. And I think it allows you to operate at a higher level. If you have 1,000 people, let's say you have 100 people go to your website and you have about 10 people, 10% conversion rate on your website. If you get it to 20% conversion rate, beautiful. Same thing just happened. You just doubled your revenue.
Yeah.
So in my head, it's like we have SEO rocking, we have ads rocking, we have all of these things rocking. So it's like now we got traffic. Let's make this traffic convert better.
Yeah. CRO is actually something that's like super important that I didn't realize how impactful that is. And so a lot of times when people are, working on SEO or running ads, right, they're boosting their site basically to the top so people like see it. And so you'll get a ton of traffic in. And so this basically happened to us about a year ago where the guy I was working with, he was like, dude, like we're getting you all these rankings and stuff. You're going to the top of the page. We have all these like traffic and visitors going on. I'm looking at the report. I'm like, well, this is great. Like, how come it's not translating into actual like leads where people are filling out forms and or evaluations, right? And so that's where I started learning a little bit more about CRO, conversion rate optimization. And so a lot of times, like if our stuff is just super cluttered or our messaging isn't clear, people will go onto the site. But if it doesn't speak to them in a way that actually matters, like they won't take the next step, which is really to click on the opt-in form and say, hey, like I'm going to raise my hand, submit my information. I need help. I want to take the next step. And so a lot of times, once you kind of figure that out and like start cleaning that up, the conversion rate should go up along with the traffic that goes up to your website. But yeah, if you're ranking really really well, you're getting a lot of traffic onto your website, but like you're just not seeing that translate over into the number of leads and or like booked evaluations that you're getting at the end of every single month, then there's something else going on that probably needs to be addressed within the funnel.
For sure, man. And what I'm doing, I'm going to go to a route that I always go, right? It's like, I want someone to fucking guide me on this.
Yeah,
And it's the same thing that we tell people. It's like, if I am starting a new, if I'm going to open a business that I don't have a coach, it's like, that's the easiest way to shoot yourself in the foot. If I'm trying to optimize conversion rate optimization, I literally got a DPT in physical therapy. I'm a fucking savage clinician. And, we're pretty fucking good at business, but this is such a hyper specific skill.
yeah,
Like, what's the ROI of me doing it versus someone that does this 24 hours a day? So, I've already had a call set up, gonna reach out to a couple of people and like maybe I've already started taking a course and like really take a deep dive and like understand these things. But I just find that when I go this route of stuff, results speed up way quicker than like trying to do it myself.
for
So
sure. I
whenever,
think there's I
yeah,
think there's something to be said about like understanding it at a very basic level, right? So the fact that hey, you actually took a course on it gives you a very foundational level of like, okay, this is kind of like the overall general process of things. And then also too, now when you do hire on like somebody who specializes in CRO, you can almost kind of hold them accountable to like, hey, whenever you know whether or not someone's actually doing a good job or if they're just kind of like goofing off and like not actually producing results. Because I think a lot of times too, especially as like business owners, you have all these agencies that promise the world, but if you don't have a basic understanding of like what the actual funnel should look like, what are basic KPIs within this specific range, you're gonna kind of just get pulled along and they won't, they'll just kind of pull you on because you don't actually know like what's supposed to look good, right? And so especially when it comes to specific sales and marketing, you should definitely have a very basic understanding as a business owner. But then from there, like you will never be able to produce like somebody as well as somebody who just does that 24/7 like for their job, right? Same thing with a lot of people, they'll maybe take like additional specialization courses or maybe even go on like YouTube and look at hours and hours worth of like low back pain, but very very different than somebody who just treats low back pain for a living for multiple years. So that's kind of something that I always like to kind of point out is like, hey, take the course, but from there understand like what's the best ROI for your time.
exactly. Yeah. And it's always practice what you preach. Like we tell you, we're obviously, you know, clear the elephant in the room is that we're selling coaching services to people, right? Like I truly believe that what we do helps. And I know that like every single time that I've had a huge ROI myself personally, it was because someone else had a coach. If Michael Jordan has a coach, we need a fucking coach, like straight up. And I always think about that entering anything, whether that was SEO stuff. I took an SEO course, whether that's doing ads. I've taken 3 ads courses. We've had multiple coaches. Peter's done masterminds on ads. So it's like everything that we do, it's not like, oh, we watched a YouTube video and we're experts. It's like, I'm just trying to know enough to be dangerous. And if this is
Yeah.
something that I truly enjoy, I'm going to take even deeper dives because you know, we've had like SEO agencies before. It's like, yeah, you've got your SEO up. And I'm like, yeah, but we're ranking for kettlebell exercises. No one's looking up kettlebell exercises thinking that they're going to fucking, commit to a higher ticket price package. Like, I want someone that's looking for like sports physical therapy, etc. Like, I need a keyword where there's intent to spend on our services. So if you don't understand how something works, you could just be getting burned.
For sure. That's awesome, man. I think I love the fact that you have like one main big like goal you want to improve on the quarter. I know one of the big mistakes that I've made before in the past is just like I'll like have all these like big things that I want to check off and accomplish, and then like 1 month passes by, 2 month passes by, and I'm like, holy shit! Like I haven't been able to even touch any of this. And a lot of times I often just get like super frustrated and I'm just like, like screw this entire thing. Like I'm just gonna kind of like settle back in, right? Whereas like, hey, if you have like one major bottleneck or one major thing that you identified, cool, for the next 90 days, this is everything that I'm gonna work on to resolve this one bottleneck. Then I think it makes it like way more achievable. And then also for you guys who are listening, if you guys aren't setting actual like quarterly goals, like that is 100% something that you should be doing. I think at the beginning of the year, everyone gets all super like hoorah and like amped up about, all right, cool, what the hell are we gonna do for this 1 year? But the thing is, like, a year is a very fucking long time. And oftentimes, like, it's just like you can kind of just get bogged down. But, 90-day goals are super reasonable, super achievable. And so you kind of just like set your eye on that. All right, cool. What are we going to hit in this next 90 days? And how do I break it up into a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day goal and work slowly to be able to hit and achieve that? I don't know about you, man, but like every time I kind of check something off and I know it moves me a little bit closer towards that goal, I get like super amped up about it.
No, for sure, and I like the clarity because I think we've kind of learned over time where it's like, what's the biggest constraint? What's the biggest constraint, right? You can keep optimizing ads a little bit more, but you've already got some good traffic going. So like, biggest
Yeah.
constraint right now is like making sure that whoever does opt in we get the conversion. So, what's the big thing for you this quarter?
But man, building out an SDR team, dude. Towards the end of Q2, man, we had a big turnover in our SDR team. So we basically went from 3 full-time SDRs down to 0. And I was telling Andy right before this call, I was like, I never realized like how important an SDR is because like the moment we didn't have an SDR, we basically had to turn off all ads because we didn't have somebody calling the leads. All right. And so our like number of evals booked for this month has basically like dropped almost probably like anywhere from a half to 3/4 of what it typically normally is. Right. So everything is really just like are pretty much just like word of mouth and or kind of just like organic for this month because all of our PTs are full treating clients. So it's pretty much me and like my client director. Whenever we do have gaps, we're the ones doing like the outbound calls. I'm just like, I cannot let this ever happen again because our clinic is going to take a major hit from a revenue standpoint for this month. And so, yeah, I think like going through this experience, I truly understand like how important a like good SDR is. And to really have like multiple different people set up in place to make sure, hey, like even if we do have one that transitions out, somebody else can kind of step in and get it. But from like an SDR standpoint, I would think like this is typically how we have it set up. We have one for in person to basically kind of act as like a front desk receptionist, and then also help out with lead calls, and then we also have like a virtual one as well too. But yeah, a lot of times like if you're top of funnel where you basically shorten and condense the total number of leads that are actually able to come into your evals, like everything kind of like falls off, man. So yeah, this is definitely just something that I know for sure. Like I cannot let this happen again. But yeah, good learning opportunity. But in terms of like how we're sourcing it, um, our person in clinic, we are sourcing from Indeed, and then we also are having a like local headhunter help us find like the right person as well too. Yeah. We've also decided to kind of up compensation a little bit as well too, just to be able to see if we can kind of pull in some like higher quality, kind of like local SDRs. Before our like hourly rate for our in-person SDRs was anywhere from like 20 to like 24. So I was thinking, all right, cool. Maybe we kind of like increase that a little bit, and then add on additional bonus comp for that. But yeah, it's just also been a lot more of a thorough like interview process. Like, dude, I think this week I cranked through shit no less than like 14
Damn.
SDR interviews, man. Yeah, and it's like a multi-step interview process as well too. But yeah, I think like I'm I'm kind of like halfway in between where we really need somebody, but I also don't want to rush it so much to the point where I pull in somebody where, they may not be like the true killer that we're looking for. And I've also kind of gone back and forth between, hey, we have all these SDRs, great. Should I basically just like look for like a head of sales? So somebody to basically come in and manage and own kind of this like lead to eval conversion process. Right. So they'll basically be in charge of managing all the SDRs, managing, how they're having conversations with these leads, managing the overall lead to eval booking rate. Right. So this is like the one thing that, yeah, like for us this quarter, like we have to get dialed in, we have to get solidified because once we get this dialed in, dude, it's like even if your PTs have a very low conversion rate, we'll just say, for example, like, say as a whole across the board, like your clinic just like sucks at sales and you convert around 30% of all evals onto Planet Care. Now, if you have like your minimum Planet Care set around 2,500, 3K, right? But you really open up your top of funnel. So just getting in as many evals as possible. Now we actually have like somewhat of a predictable way to basically consistently hit, 100K or like whatever, how many, monthly revenue you want to be able to hit per month. But a lot of times, like now I'm seeing it's like, hey, this month we have a really, really high conversion. I think this month, dude, like we're closing around 85, 90%. But it's just like all of the leads that are coming in are all word of mouth. And it's just like they're super freaking warm, It's like it doesn't really matter if we have a really high conversion rate if we just don't have enough evals coming in. And so I think like if we can really like dial in this like lead to eval booking process, then I think like it'll basically be like the next unlock for us to really like kick things off to the next level for Q4. But yeah, man, that's it's been a good learning opportunity for sure. I think, yeah, I'm getting my nuts kicked in for sure this these last couple weeks.
Yeah, I was messaging Peter earlier today. I was like, "Yo, bro, I made the time mistake twice," and he's like, "Yo, I totally get it." Like, we had the came back on Monday, Tuesday to the show, 2 14-hour days back to back, and like today was a finally like sleep in kind of day. So this is us like not there's definitely been this year, there's been moments in time where like shit's smooth sailing, but
Yeah.
it's the natural ebbs and flows. So we don't want to ever be like, "Yeah, we got it all figured out." Like literally, every time that something happens, as long you just I think the main thing is like you don't want to keep making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think I love the fact that like you're like, okay, let's come up with a creative solution. Do I need someone at head of sales, right? Because if I have someone that takes ownership of this role, then sure, I'm paying more, but like how expensive is a peace of mind? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that, especially this year, that I'm really starting to realize is like, dude, I will 100% pay top dollar for really good talent. And for really like what I'm paying for is like peace of mind and then time. Because there's no point in like paying for, yes, maybe people who are cheaper, you can pay for that and, not spend as much money. But what it costs to basically replace somebody, where it's, if there's a consistent turnover, and or you just like maybe stressing out because like, hey, you're not happy with the way things are being managed and stuff, it's just like it's not worth it at the end of the day,
Yeah.
in my humble opinion, right? But yeah.
No, for sure. And I think in the beginning, like you just got to go fucking boots to the ground. But
Yeah.
at some point, it's like, all right, like I'm making a good amount of money. I've got my cost of living isn't super high, right? I know like
Mhm.
Peter and I joke around all the time. It's like, yo, it's yacht season, time to go shopping for yachts. But we're fucking around. Like we're not gonna make these crazy financial commitments. When you're able to save for retirement, pump in some index funds, take care of yourself, have a couple of like general luxuries, get to go out to eat, etc. like that. Like making more money isn't necessarily better. You probably just want your time back. You want more freedom. You want more peace. So like it's not always like, I gotta increase profitability. Sometimes it's like, you know what, we're doing fucking well, and I don't ever want to have to worry about this role again. So I'm going to hire someone to take this role, and even though I'm paying more money, like I know I'm going to be able to sleep at night knowing that we'll never have to have this problem. I'll never have to do 100 outbound calls.
Yeah, I saw this quote the other day. Or there's just basically a guy on Reddit. Dude does like a couple millions, but he basically goes like, "Hey, I got a secret. I got a secret to share. Right? Like, listen up, y'all. It's like after the first like 2 to 3 millions, a paid off home and a good car, there really is no difference in quality of life between you and Jeff Bezos. Right? Both of you have limited amount of time on Earth. You have twice, if not more than Jeff, so you're richer than him. Right? A cheeseburger is a cheeseburger, whether a billionaire eats it or you do. Money at the end of the day is nothing but a piece of paper or a number in your app. Real life is outdoors. So, and then he basically goes on to say, like, hey, at the end of the day, have good food, enjoy your relationships, work out, have good sex, sleep well, call your parents. And that's pretty much there is all to life. And greed has no end. And so repeat after me, time is the currency of life. Money is not. And I think when I saw that, I was like, man, this is like actually like a really good reminder. Because I know like at the end of every single month, first thing I'm looking at is like really the main indicator of like how the business is doing. Right? And so it's like obviously, hey, like top line revenue, are we profitable enough at the end of the day? Like what's profit percentage look like? How much is going in? But exactly, I was like, man, like at the end of the day, it's like after a certain extent, like what much more is there? It's like you want pretty much like you want a healthy body, you want to have good relationships, and you want to make sure you feel happy about the things that you're doing. And a lot of times I think like, yeah, you always have to kind of weigh and compare the contrast between, hey, like, is the amount of like stress and input that I'm putting on worth it for the amount of like money and ROI at the end? And yeah, after a certain extent, is just, hey, like you gotta enjoy what you're doing. Right? Obviously, to a certain extent, I actually really enjoy the things I'm doing. That's why we're okay working, 12, 14-hour days. You got to get through the season. All right. But then after that, it's like, cool. Like, do I want to continue to like scale this shit up to, XYZ? I don't know. Maybe at what cost? Right. So these are all just kind of things that I was like, yeah, that's actually a really good reminder. But yeah, man.
That was fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
And remember, at what cost? Doesn't have to be your cost, right? I think at the end of the day, it's like everyone has something that they want to be able to achieve, and as long as you can give them what they want, they'll help you achieve those things.
Mhm.
So maybe in like a couple of years, Peter's business doing 5, 10 million, right? And we bring in outside investors and they help grow, and like it's, we're starting to sail off into the sunset. But no, I totally agree with that Reddit post. Great way to end a Friday podcast. Any final any final words?
Dude, I'm excited for Q3, man. Well, honestly, I'm excited at the end of every single quarter. Honestly, at the end of every single month too. I feel like with specific timelines and time frames, it just gives me a really good kind of like perspective to kind of look back and see, cool, like did I achieve what I set out to do? And if I can kind of tick off some check boxes, man, like that makes me happy. And then it also gives me an opportunity to be like realign, like, hey, what's important? What are some priorities? And then set out some new goals to hit, and continue working at it, man. So, no, I'm excited. I'm pumped. And obviously, dude, we have the live event coming on in a couple weeks. Been preparing for some of the talks and stuff. Like it's gonna be fire, man.
Yeah, the live event is going to be fucking dope. But yeah, if you want to attend a live event, DM us at gogetterscoaching.com, at gogetterscoaching.com, at gogetterscoaching, and just DM live event. But first off, before we even talk about the live event, how did we only get one 5-star review since last week? We are at 32 5-star reviews. Come on now, we'd be dropping gems out here. We're helping you reflect on life. We're helping you grow your business.
Sheesh.
I get it. I get it. If you're driving a car, listening to this podcast, don't don't be trying to leave us a review. But if you're doing this on a run, you could if you're changing your music on a run, you could give us a 5-star review on a run. All jokes aside, appreciate you guys. It means a ton that you're listening to us, to two Asian kids fucking yap about business and life. And if you're enjoying it, any love is appreciated. But thank you guys so much. We'll catch you next week.
Peace. Go get
Peace.
after it, y'all.
Go get after it.